This is Shaun Sport in podcast form.
If you've been watching the news over the last couple of nights, and certainly if you've been looking at today's paper, you would have seen a young man by the name of Nick Campo on the front page of the paper.
This is such a sad story.
We lost him on Saturday night at 11:40. He was involved in a car accident just after celebrating his 18th birthday.
His own 18th. Yeah, so they left his 18th to go into the city. Is that?
Yeah, just meeting some other Aquinas and South Fremantle teammates. And, he lost his life in that car accident. You've seen on the news the young man who was driving has been charged.
Yes.
And that will play out as it play out, but there's a number of...
He's only 17 too.
Yeah.
That was he had to go to the children's court to go there. He's technically still a child.
Yeah, now, I wanted to mention that part of it too, right? So when you see the news and you read the paper and they say a young man, these kids are around the same age as my kids. And
so Ollie knows him, right?
Yeah, and Nick... They went to the same school. They were playing. I used to go and umpire the footy matches on a Friday after here, and Nick was a great player, so I know them to a degree, but the kids are really cut up about this. And I use the word kids because you see on the news that they're talking about, and I read in the paper, an 18-year-old man. Yeah. They're not.
No. They're not. And that's someone's child, his family. Just the ripple effect of how something like this impacts the broader community, to the family members, to the friends, the school friends, some kids that I know knew him as well, and they went and laid flowers yesterday at the scene. And everybody's just so heartbroken by it. But that's the same with any case you see in the news. It's like that. It just so happens that, we have connections to this kid. But it's just such a waste of a promising young life in a split-second decision. Absolutely, Nat. And, one of the things when you think about these moments all the time, I think the first thing you almost go to is, as an adult, you feel just devastation for the family and the parents 100%. In particular. That split moment where you say goodbye to your child and then they're gone out of your life forever. And you think how many times you say goodbye to your kids and they do come home, and just the shock that it must be when they don't. Yeah. Just it's so hard to fathom. The other thing that you always think of as an adult is generally when moments like this come up, how did you get through your life? And the moments that you've had in your life that have been so tricky and on the edge of something going horribly wrong. That's right. It could have gone either way. And why were you able to... navigate that through. And on the other side, why was someone in that circumstance after celebrating an 18th birthday, and this goes for many people that you were talking about, Nat, that have been through horrific situations in their life, why did that go wrong for them? That's right. And it's really hard to sleep on that. Yeah, it is. It is. It does seem like, that there's nothing you can do to protect yourself, really. I mean, you can I guess you could never leave the house, but that's not viable. And so you go, why him and why not somebody else? Or, why did somebody else in a similar accident survive and he didn't? It's so you can ask a lot of those sorts of questions, and there's really no answer. No, there isn't. There's a lot of kids hurting around at the moment. There's a lot of families hurting around. And I know, as you said, we're focusing on this one, which is happening all the time around WA. Yes, because we have connection to it. But, it happens every weekend. Yeah, the kids have got to go back to school today, as we know. It's first day back at school, so Aquinas College, they'll be absolutely hurting, and not to mention them, all the other football clubs, and I know it's been affected in my household for sure. But as our hearts go out to Nick's family and friends and everyone else who is suffering at the moment. Yes, and the kid who's still in hospital too, that's touch and go as well. Absolutely. Yeah, extraordinary. Yeah, horrible situation. Very, very sad.
Shaun Sport in podcast form.
Now, the old Seabass is in the town. Seabass, I wanted to see what you thought of Travis Bazzana, who was the first Australian ever to go as the number one draft pick in Major League Baseball. You would have seen that story?
I did. Yeah, it's quite weird when in Australia it's like, baseball.
It's
and then
very
over
much
here it's like,
yes.
Oh.
The fact that we can produce the number one draft pick in the MLB and really baseball, it's obviously played here, but it's by no means a major participation sport. You go, that's incredible. The standard that we're producing, and we've had a lot of players make it to the majors.
We have.
But no one's ever gone number one. So the highest, I think, before that was in the third round. So this is incredible.
It is incredible. So his paycheck first up as being a number one draft pick is in the $15 million range for a year, right?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
How old is he?
I think he's 23,
Harry will Google
possibly. We'll have a look. He's from Sydney.
He's second baseman, yeah?
Yep, second baseman. He set records all year long with the amount of home runs he was hitting in his league. He's 21 at this point in time, so 15.
So he was playing in the college system in America, and so he's been drafted that way. But incredible.
But do you know, if you look at Major League Baseball versus any other sporting competitions in the world, some of these guys are on $1 billion. $1 billion for a contract
but
over
do you know
10
how many
years.
games they play?
Yes, they do play a lot.
They play a billion games. They're literally getting
I know,
$1 a game.
half of it you're sitting down.
This is true. But imagine that. Imagine your partner's an NBL player.
Yes.
Like, you would never see them. You just have to travel with them constantly.
Yeah. But also, you could just be at home spending their money. So there's a silver lining there, isn't there?
Yeah, it's some of the contracts, we're just looking at them at the moment. Like your $426 million extension, that's Mike Trout. Yeah, when he signed with the Angels. Remember seeing that one?
Ohtani there, $700 million.
So we're talking US dollars here, $700 million US dollars.
And he signed through to 2033. So that's over 10 years. So he does have to put in.
Yes. Yeah, he can't
it's
just
$100
cut his
million a year. I mean, this is US dollars I keep getting back to, but that's unbelievable. He's playing a sport and the number one draft pick from Australia, and they're getting that kind of money.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Do you reckon this is going to up the ante of baseball here in Australia?
Yeah,
now
you
people
would think
go,
so. 100%.
wow, I want a piece of that.
Yeah. Why would you get your kid to play cricket when he can get him to play baseball and maybe make $15 million in their first year?
Unbelievable.
Yes, please.
It's outstanding, isn't it?
Yeah, get him into it.
Seabass, we're gearing up towards the Olympic Games, just coming up very shortly. July 27, I think Australian Boomers play their first game against Spain. There's all kinds of stuff going on. The Matildas get their competition underway earlier.
And the swimming's in the first week too.
When you're at the Commonwealth Games, what was the atmosphere like? What was the village like?
It was so much fun. Like being a part, just going into the village is where it's about, because your countries all live in different blocks, and so you get to meet one another. Like people that you've seen on the TV that you've idolised, all of a sudden are wearing the same team colours as you, and you're walking in the like opening ceremony and things like that. So it's pretty wild from that point of view. And I think then the best thing about the village is because there's so many different cultures and so many different diets, there's so many different food choices.
Yeah,
As someone that loves food, my favourite thing was just to go down to the cafeteria and try something from every different stall because there were so many amazing creations to try. And you meet the other athletes. Like, it is so cool.
Who did you meet that you were kind of starstruck with?
Usain Bolt. We did Bolt Watch all the time. Yeah. And so I think that was really cool. Like, and I think it's sad sometimes, you know, the American basketball team, the Dream Team, and they don't stay in the village and things like that.
Because they're too famous.
Because they are, and I get it. They would get hounded constantly. Imagine going to breakfast, you're trying to prepare
and you're sitting
for your
next
game.
to LeBron James.
Yeah, and just wild. But that's what I really loved about Usain, is that he was like, no, I'm a man of the people.
Yeah.
I'm going to get around the village. He was really polite and happy and friendly, and that was it for me when you like do a
he would have been
spot.
the biggest name too, wouldn't he?
He was huge.
Yeah, king of the heap there.
You got to take the opportunity that wouldn't happen every day to make sure that you don't want to walk away from a thing like that and say, I saw him and I was right there, but I just felt...
But do you know what we used to do? It was like chicken. We played Bolt Watch as well. Like, I was over there. And it would just be a random Jamaican person in a chair. I gotcha.
Someone from the bobsled team.
Pretty much.
I mean, it is awesome. Is there a sport that in the Olympics that you really get into that like isn't really your field, but you're like, I'm fully invested?
The swimming I find insane. I don't know what it is. And I loved hanging out with them at Com Games.
Yes.
We used to do a dinner before we entered the village, and it was always with the swimmers. So that was always heaps of fun. I love the hockey as well. There's something about that and that team sport
they
vibe.
play at is extraordinary, isn't it?
Yes. So yeah, probably those two for me. I
love the gymnastics. Like, it's not anything I've ever been good at, but I would watch Simone Biles for the rest of my life, I reckon. Just watching her flip around, it's extraordinary.
Yeah.
She is an unbelievable athlete.
Gymnastics amazing.
Yeah.
And some of the rigs on those are the women and the blokes.
Yeah, it's
like,
amazing.
Are you
and I mean,
serious?
Simone Biles is like 5'1" or something. She is a tiny little pocket rocket. Her husband's been, because he
He's
plays
an NFL
for the
player.
Yes. He's I think been drafted to the Bears. He's
given time off.
Yeah, they've given him time off to go to the Olympics. Yeah.
Did you hear there's a GWS player who's not been given time off? His partner is a hurdler, and he's asked for leave to go and watch her,
and they said no.
Yeah, they said no. How bad is that?
No, you've still got to do your job.
During football season, I don't.
It's footy season.
Yeah, I don't even think he's like is he a main player in the team? Like, if he's just a fringe player and he wants to go and watch his partner, make the Olympics, which is something that you don't do very often.
No, maybe I'm a bit old school thinking.
No,
maybe I'm a bit old school thinking.
Can you miss a game to watch the birth of a baby?
Yeah, well, that's a different.
You can miss that, but you can't watch
scenario.
them try and compete for a gold medal.
Is she really competing for a gold medal?
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Most Australian athletes, other than Jessica Hull that we've heard about just recently.
What about the high jumpers? Don't you diss the athletics, Shaun?
No, I like the high jumpers, but the reality is we aren't very fast. Is that fair?
Oh, tell that to your mate Sally Pearson.
Okay, you got me with her again.
And what does she win that in?
Hurdles. God damn it.
Shaun Sport is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcast.com.au.